Today we are at the 13th annual Project Citizen District Showcase. We have 22 projects this year representing our schools across our district. Our 7th grade students have been researching policy within their community that they can use to solve a local issue. They have been studying citizenship, levels of government, the 3 branches of government, and how they can become an active citizen. And they are using that knowledge today to showcase their research to judges. They have looked for a problem in their community, looked at alternatives that they can use to solve that problem, chosen the best one, and have created an action plan. We are so proud of our students and all the hard work that they've done this year to show how they can be a positive, influential citizen in their community.
Our problem is primary voting and whether it should be open or not. We think that it should be open so we can allow all the people of Florida to vote for our representatives. Our action plan to do so is to send a survey out to all of Florida and ask them whether they think it should be open or closed. If 2/3 of the people say it should be open, then we will send that to the governor and say that we think, and the people of Florida also think, that it should be open for all of us. This also helps the people who aren't affiliated with the party of Democrat or Republican to vote in for the people. We interviewed Fred Gartner and Fallon Laughley, and they think that it should also be open, but they think there's also some issues with that. They also think that sometimes there's issues of sabotage of the other party, and that could also be a problem, but we think we can overcome it together as a group of Florida.
So our project is about children with ADHD and if they are being over-medicated. And if they were being over-medicated, how does it affect them, their school life and home life? Our goal was to create an alternative policy that helps them so that they are not over-medicated but get the needs that they want, such as if they were to have something going on at home, but they're getting over-medicated just because they think it's ADHD, because they would be acting out. And our alternative policy was that we would have to keep records of everyone's medication history to see if they were getting over-medicated and what they would need exactly. We've done interviews with people at our school, like students that deal with it and nurses such as the district nurse. The result was that they do deal with it on a daily, and then they don't feel like they should get over-medicated, and that if they do, it makes them feel really bad about themselves, zombie-like. The benefits were that everyone would still be able to basically live like they normally would, but they would still be getting the medication and treatment that they need.
And our problem that we're focusing on is recycling, the lack of bins, and the collection, and just the problem in general. Because a lot of our recycling is ending up in the landfill, and the landfill is in turn releasing some harmful gases called greenhouse gases. Not to mention, recycling helps with global warming and climate change. We've reached out to local government and different companies to see if they can help, maybe possibly donate bins or help with collection so that we have bins so that we can recycle and then we can start collection. We've also reached out to local government to see if they can do something with the collection. The problem in general affects both the local government and the state government because it affects our county and our state. The benefit would be less landfills, which will help with global warming and climate change and cleaning up our streets, because if you walk, there's bottles everywhere, and there's not enough bins, and so people don't have places to recycle. So we're trying to get bins so that people can just start by recycling and not throwing the recycling in the trash. Small businesses can have a hard time affording bins and affording a collection, which is also why we're trying to reach out to some people to see if they can maybe donate bins. So we're trying to contact the mayor or governor as well to see if we can also put a policy in place that will help with that as well.
Basically about the deforestation in Port St. Lucie and how it's affected animals due to infrastructure growth and the booming population. And so we basically figured out different alternative solutions. Our main solution is the to request the public policy to be implemented by the city of Port St. Lucie to designate areas for nature preserve within the city to accommodate the loss of habitats with the growth of infrastructure. Our benefits are basically we're helping animals be safe. You know, they're not going to be out in the public, and they're not going to be causing trouble in the public, like causing any trash can problems, like raccoons can cause trash can problems and stuff like that. They won't affect the public. Oh yeah, and we can petition. We'll start a petition for people to get on board with our idea.
We're focusing on abandoned homes in Fort Pierce. So there are about 2,000 homes, according to tax liens, with unaffordable housing. Another thing is property rights. Many people aren't aware how to transfer money to their houses or how to give a will. And for our alternative solution, we would like to create a BandLink agency in Fort Pierce for low-income workers. And our class policy, we would like to create a workshop for future homeowners to teach them how to qualify for these homes. And we would like to create a land bank. Eligible homes would be sold for $100.
We have a renovation loan program in our class policy because when people get a house from the land bank, they're going to be dirty and they're going to need a lot of working, and that's going to be very expensive. So the banks will provide loans to those who qualify so they can fix up the houses.
We interviewed Commissioner Curtis Johnson and also Realtor Bernae Johnson. So they actually agreed with this problem. Commissioner Johnson said that it is a big problem in Fort Pierce right now. So we just went off of that and basically created this so that there wouldn't be as much abandoned homes as there are right now.
Our main goal is to convince the local stakeholders and the community that there are more advantages to our action point. The only disadvantage is the cost of renovations. The advantages are create better neighborhoods, increasing surrounding property values, less abandoned homes, equal opportunities for homeowners.
The main reason for investing into abandoned homes is so that people with low-income jobs can participate in the dream of home ownership, and people don't have to, look for places that are too expensive or anything like that, and they just have to, sign up. It could be in their budget, yeah.
Our thing is improving school safety. Our policy is key cards through K-12 students. Our alternatives are automatic locking doors and metal detectors. Mainly our reason why we picked this is because there was some recent things with Texas and the shootings that happened. So that's the main reason why I really wanted to do this. Some downsides to key cards is they can get lost, and automatic doors they can accidentally lock an accident, and metal detectors they can die. So we did interview a deputy at our school, Deputy Reed. He mentioned some things like about the doors locking and staying locked at the wrong time. Bad thing mainly because if they lock at the wrong time and it's literally the beginning of the class and someone needs to get in, they couldn't get in. Mainly so if someone gets in the building, they can't exactly get into the specific classroom, so the students will still be safe.
We basically did a manatee project because manatees' deaths are going up by the year, and we just wanted to bring that to light because you don't see that a lot. To stop people from polluting and stop throwing trash into the water because they're killing manatees by algae growing because algae grows off of trash.
What our problem that we have chose is a school zone sign with flashing lights, and the reason we proposed it is because we have a lot of kids going to our school that are walkers, and we need to have a school zone sign because some people, they ignore the sign that we already have in place, and it's going to become a big problem, especially with the new community that we're going to have. We also contacted some people that can help us, and we're planning to go to the next meeting so that we can have our new school zone sign in place. We have in contact Mr. Luther and Mr. Brian, And we also are in contact with Mr. Sanders, and he is the person who is in charge of the transportation. So we also need him to put in place a sign. The benefits of our program will be a visual reminder for drivers and pedestrians that is a school entrance. So we have more people knowing that this is a school entrance, and we have less car crashes. The disadvantages is that the cost can be a limiting factor, and new flashing crosswalk signs can range from a low of $1,000 to a high $4,000. The meeting will be in, I think we're having 2 this month.
Our project is based on human trafficking. Our main issue with this is we want to bring awareness to Florida. This is based on Florida at the moment. We want to bring awareness to all the counties of Florida about human trafficking. Human trafficking is a severe issue that not many people know the problem too. And we want to raise more awareness, public awareness, as you can see, so many more, the whole public can know about it. And as 3 young girls, we want to bring awareness because girls our age are the most popular victims of human trafficking. And as us young girls, we want to bring awareness to problems that face us, and boys and women and men. We reached out to Missing Kids, an organization of human trafficking. They said, following up with the information I received from the outreach team, if you would like to request a presentation from NCMEC on child sex trafficking, please submit a community event request. We may be able to get someone in person to present based on staff ambassador availability. Otherwise, I would suggest they reach out to other organizations who have more a focus on gender human trafficking, like A21, but definitely start off with filling the request. Hope this helps. The advantage is they help kids. They have a hotline so you can call them if you have a problem. And we want them to come to our school so we could have not an advantage, but a learning place in our school to learn about human trafficking.
Such a great event. I think it is so magical to see students getting involved in community projects and taking the time to do the research about something that they care about and problem solve it. We had such good quality projects. They did some real thorough research on the problem and the causes of the problems. And then they were very intentional about choosing public policy that they could implement that would be beneficial to the community as much as possible. I think the value for the students is they learn leadership, they learned how to collaborate as a team, they learn research skills, they learn public speaking skills, they learn presentation skills, and then they are, most importantly, they learn how they can be constructive members of the community and that they have an active role in the community and they can take steps to help their community be better.
Our project was on code red safety because we believe that the procedures that are currently in place were not adequate for what would actually happen in a real emergency situation. So our main policy is actually for prevention because there is a pattern with perpetrators that they had mental health issues in the past. So our main policy is to hopefully prevent that and offer guidance counseling so that we can stop the issue before it happens. Our second policy, our alternate policy 1, we believe we can organize the system a little better because right now the teachers know ahead of time, the students know ahead of time, and we wanted to make it a little more realistic. So we offered randomized code red drills and teacher training, which we believe will help with preparation. Our third policy includes increased security for like school resource officers because there's only like 1 or 2 at most, and if we have more security, hopefully the threat will be reduced because they're being watched. A couple of my classmates contacted like the mayor and vice mayor and a couple people on the school board. Not everyone has responded yet, but emails were sent out. For our main policy, the advantages would be preventing it before it occurred and getting getting students well-deserved and well-needed mental health guidance. Not all students want guidance counseling because they believe they don't need it. So if they deny it and they have the right to deny it, it might not work as well as hoped.
And what we're representing is Southern Oaks Middle School, and we would be implementing a traffic light on St. James Drive and Peachtree Boulevard. Why we're doing this is because there has been lots of accidents and lots of bad causes that happen when we don't implement a traffic light. Lots of disadvantages that come to it. It's costly, and because when people want to take a left turn, they can because of that. When we implement a traffic light, this will help those disadvantages and help it. As we see here with the speeding ticket zones, one way that we can help this is add a traffic light with a camera. Most cameras aren't digital. So if we add a digital camera that records, we can help solve the problem of speeding fines, and we can hire cross guards with extended hours, because when kids are in school, those cross guards leave. So if we extend their hours, they can help our school become safe. We contacted the mayor and the FDOT, and we also did some offices of transportation. We contacted the mayor to schedule an appointment if she agrees with the implementing a traffic light. We also went around the school and made a poll to see if kids feel safe when they cross the street, and 35.2% said no. So that's why implementing a traffic light would be beneficial.
We have come to present the intersection of Pisces and Arosa. This has been one of the most dangerous intersections in all of Port St. Lucie due to 7 crashes and 8 reported crashes. Ways to solve this are putting a speed hump, adding traffic lights, or adding stop signs. We understand if people wouldn't like this because of the construction, the noise, but it's worth the lives that we could save from this project. That's why we chose this project today. We have contacted Beth Soka from the City Council, and we contacted a citizen from the intersection, Elise Lucent. Elise, who is a citizen of this intersection, she was really worried about her neighbor's safety, because once you turn out, there's a high chance that you can get in a crash. The advantages of this program are reduce the amount of damage in a car wreck and increase the safety of the citizens in this area. The disadvantages are the noise and about how much it costs, because the traffic lights would cost around $4,500.
Our project is the center of attention, focusing mainly on the Civic Center land. We drive past it daily thinking, like, it's such a plain piece of land, and you know how everyone always has to leave Port St. Lucie to find entertainment or to do anything. That's tax revenue from our city leaving. So we would like to keep that. So we decided to make a downtown-like environment so people from nearby can have something to do, to hang out, and that tax revenue would stay with us. We have contacted David Pickett, and he's very open with it. He likes the idea, and it's also a perfect time for this because it's actually because the whole council is already deciding this, and we plan on going to the workshop in April. The advantages are that we would be making more money as the city as a whole, because instead of our money, our tax dollars leaving the city, we would it'd be staying here, and also provide more housing for participants. Some disadvantages can be it's costly. It would be pretty costly, and it's also a very time-consuming project, but we are doing them in sections. We are working from the middle outwards in our plan, and also we are working with private organizations. So say she wanted to have a building here, she would pay and develop the land with our regulations, and then she would be gifted the land while we're still getting the tax steady income from that property tax. We're going to the City Center workshop. Their main focus for that time is this. That's why it's a perfect time that we decided to do this. Everyone's on point, and we did conduct a poll for our school, and we polled teachers and students because their students' opinions are also important. So the majority think that it's very important that we need something like this in Port St. Lucie, and that they are not happy with what we have so far. Yeah.
Our project is non-medical drug use, and we feel like this is a very important problem in our state because it can ruin kids' lives, and it can really be hard on them for their academics and their attendance. and that this is a very important problem, and that we're gonna get a petition for the state legislator to address this problem to the state of Florida, that we should be more open to this problem because it could happen to us one day that we get addicted, and that we need to have trusted adults, and how they should have more organizations for the students. We have contacted many parents and teachers. We contacted a trauma nurse at a State 1 trauma center, and she said that she sees non-medical drug, like kids that use it a lot, and that there's a lot of health problems. They think that this is a really good idea because a lot of kids should find out about what's wrong and how many people do this, and how the state needs to come up with a policy.
The advantage of the program kind of helps you, like, eventually there'll be some problems in this, like, statewide, well, district-wide. And like, I think that the advantages would be like, it'd stop parents from having to from finding out their kids are doing really illegal drugs, and how kids shouldn't be in the perspective of any of those illicit drugs, you know?
I think that we're gonna try to then attend the district school board meetings. We're gonna try to give our project to them and talk to them about that they should be more open to this problem, and how they should start looking at this problem more often, and how they should probably talk to the state, and how maybe we could take action and help them.
Right. Our problem is that too many trees are being cut down in Port St. Lucie. When they are cut down, trees release a chemical that affects the air, which is harming the people and animals in our city. So our policy to help this was that we require a 50% tree replacement. So for example, if you cut down 10 trees, you must replace 5, just to help more trees stay up and keep our environment healthy. Our action plan is that the first thing we did was contact the vice mayor and mayor of Port St. Lucie. We explained our problem and the disadvantages to our community. The next thing we did was emailing the zoning and planning department. We're hoping they would like our policy and further help us save Port St. Lucie's trees. We also spread the word to social media apps like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. We would hope that more people would see how bad the problem is and also help fix it. We surveyed students and teachers at our school, asking them what they thought about the problem, and 75% of them agreed that it is a big problem and it needs to be changed. We hope our action plan and policy made a change in our community and help save the trees. So, like the 50% tree replacement, instead of just like cutting down a bunch of trees and not replanting anything, we would replace more trees and keep the air and like the air quality better, just to help it improve, and it'd be better for the people as well. The disadvantages is that it might be like, for like the small lots, replanting more trees might be a little hard for people, so they probably wouldn't be happy with that, and that financially it might cost a little bit of money to cut down, replant.
So basically what our board is about is helping the homeless people in Port St. Lucie, and in general, there's 150 people that are homeless in Port St. Lucie plus, and our public policy is to make donations for homeless people. And what we were thinking for our action plan is to set up events monthly or every other month for homeless people to help them with certain needs. So one for women that are pregnant, one for just teenagers, one for school supplies, and for just general holidays. So what we're first going to do is we are going to talk to the St. Lucie board of the St. Lucie government. And then hopefully past that, we will try and get to other states of governments. We'll probably try and get to the state government and federal governments, so they could just try and help, because we have places that we want to put homeless shelters in. We have certain places that we've seen that's good for homeless shelters and has a big land spot there. Like on US 1, there's a few open spaces that we can put homeless shelters there, or in Tradition.
And our project is Keep Port St. Lucie Green. So essentially the premise of our project was to try to stop deforestation. However, knowing that we cannot stop it, we decided that the best policy in order to do this is to essentially create a nuisance for government agencies. The government agencies would include the Florida Wildlife and Protection Preservation, the Florida Environmental Protection Agency, and South Florida Water Management. And so essentially when any time a buildable plot of land is available or is set to be cut down, then whoever is going to cut that down has to go through these agencies, and those agencies, these specific agencies, will come and survey the land and see if there's any endangered species, if there's any animals living there, or if there's any natural irrigation. Because you cut off the natural irrigation, then the animals will lose their home and a natural irrigation source. Throughout our research, we also found that there's two different public policies already in place. However, they require permits in order to cut something down, and they don't really do anything because you can get the permit and just cut down as many trees as you would like. So going forward, we are trying to create a nuisance. And then for action plan, we would be contacting our local government, and in order to work with companies that are like construction, for example, that wouldn't like to not be able to cut down trees, we would provide tax incentives in order to make up for that, especially if they were to buy a permit and then go through that process and cut down trees. So at least it takes care of some of the costs. The advantages of our program would be that it's limiting the depletion of our trees, especially because where's the wildlife going to go if there's no trees? We actually have photos on our board of wildlife that was found in local areas or on school property. And what happens if they're hostile animals? Then that's going to be a pretty big problem for everyone involved.